guys. I'm glad we have a great turnout tonight. We have people standing in the back, but that's our city staff, so I'm not going to make you move to the front. We put out 76 chairs to take a look around. You see the 70 people interested in what's going on with the city. I know everyone is and everyone's busy, but really thank y'all for coming out tonight. We have from council, Mayor Pro Tem John Montgomery. Councilmember Clay Brett. Councilmember Matt Hart. Oh, he took the front seat. Thank you. And Councilmember Shannon Carroll could not make it tonight. I want to thank all the staff for putting this together and not just putting this together, implementing the vision of council. But I really do want to thank them for putting it together. Take a look around you. What you see are these posters. After I speak, and I'm going to try to keep it short, you're going to hear things that interest you. And we're going to be able to talk to you about these things at some of the different stations. So if it piques your interest, take a good look, and then we'll be ready to dive a little bit deeper into it. I want to thank Dave Beach, city manager, for being there. Bianca, our fabulous communications manager who put it together. Thelma Gilliam in the back, who is our city secretary. For just about everything. Lastly, I want to thank again the community for being out here and caring. So I am going to hit 2023 in review real quick. A lot of the things you're going to know we did because there was a big to-do about it. Some things are kind of under the radar, but they are equally impactful. Public safety, we'll start with that. I think that's always on everybody's top of their list. It's been a top priority for us through the years, and 2023 was no different. I know that a lot of you know that hiring was a challenge this year. Hiring throughout the nation was the challenge. I think that just the tone of the country, we have a lot of people that do not want to be police officers, and we were not immune from that. We had a shortage during the year, but we were able to cover the positions with the staff we had, general overtime, and everybody was always covered. But I'm really glad to tell you we only have 2 vacancies of the 25 certified law enforcement positions that we have available by council. I mean, we used to have, I think when I was on council, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 24, and we've increased the number to match the increasing crime and expectations of the city. So we're at 25, which is above what we had before, but we allowed for 27, and we're still looking for 2 more. Those do take 3 to 4 months to fill because we only take the best of the best, 3 to 4 months for background checks and things like that. If we look at fire, we have retained our insurance service office rating of 1, which is a rating that this office gives to municipalities on how well and how that our fire service is. And it's from policies to how quick they can get to your house, things like that. There are 38,000 organizations, which are mainly cities nationwide, and only 1.3% of them have a rating of 1. Call your insurance company, because many of them use this rating to price your policy. And a 1's going to put your policy rating at a lower cost. And it keeps you safer. We retained our accreditation with the Texas Police Chiefs Association, so our policies and procedures are consistent with the best and most current law enforcement in the country. I'll move to quality of life, which also is important to everybody. Number 1 that we finished this year, I believe, quality of life-wise, at Low Street and Highway. It was a great example of repurposing the use of property, underutilized property in the city for public benefit. Traditionally, this area had oleanders growing the space from, what's the street right there at? Georgetown, right. Georgetown all the way back to Roxton. And it was a big green space, but during Uri, those oleanders died, and we had a challenge of some dead space right there, literally. So Parks Department, Parks Board, City Council was up to the challenge, and we devised a pathway, which is really a sidewalk that's a foot wider than a normal sidewalk, but it's also a porous surface. It's nicer to walk on. It's crowded all the time. It's a lot safer. Before, when people wanted to get from one place to another, say they were starting at Roxton coming to Georgetown, they had to cross 9 streets and 16 driveways. So 25 points of crossing, and now there are only 2. So it's been a big hit. I get a lot of just unsolicited remarks on it. And, you know, I'd like to see places we could do that in other parts of the city. The one thing we also did a deep dive in, and thanks to Parks Board, was a complete, thorough operational review of all things Park and Rec. It was a 360 review, and you never know what you're going to find out. And it's helped us put together a financially sustainable strategy that we can ensure a consistent, equitable cost recovery to the programming. You know, pricing it right, not pricing people out of the market, but making sure we're covering our costs. I don't have the exact number, but I do know that Colonial Park, which had been way down during COVID, is up to the pre-COVID levels. Tennis memberships are up 30% over last year. So we have a lot of increase in our usage, which is great because that's the city services that people want to enjoy. Infrastructure, also important. Streets and drainage, we finished Buffalo Speedway project. It was a 65-plus-year-old road, and we upgraded the drainage by almost half by enlarging the pipes underneath. And a lot of that was covered by transportation funds that were not ours. And I know everyone you've driven up, but the street's amazing. And I don't say that about the streets you go, and it's just a totally different driving experience. And you probably also know that the east side drainage, which is east of Buffalo, because you get stopped on University and you can't go on it and you can't turn. But it's going to improve drainage. It was part of our global drainage study to the areas along University and Wake Forest. It will increase the size of all the pipes, ranging from 24 inches to 60 inches. An aside, I hate to extend the speech, but in the Houston area, a residential street is supposed to be built to drain up to a 2-year flood standard, and a lot of our streets weren't there. So that's what this study did, and that's where we're bringing the streets up to, since they were underserved. Also, something some people may know, but probably only people on 41 and 4200 blocks of Wall Street, they were not connected to City of Westview Water. They were connected to City of Houston Water, and a lot of negotiations with City of Houston. We finally got it disconnected from Houston. They're Westview Water, Superior Service. We don't get oil notices because we cut off from City of Houston when they have that, and we don't have service interruptions. So they've been real happy with it, and I've been real happy we finally got that taken care of. Sidewalks and infiltration reduction. This one will be interesting, and you won't know about it. The sidewalks you will. We had a 2 or 5 year repair and replace sidewalks. A lot of people in the street, and I'm hoping with flattened sidewalks, where we go and address problem areas on the sidewalks, it'll move people back there so they don't feel like their scooters will fall over, you know, baby buggies and all. But that sidewalks and pedestrian mobility are a big deal. And we've gotten 30 of our 95 miles of sidewalk straightened out. Here's the one you don't know about. And we relined our sewer manholes. We had really old manholes, brick manholes, and what we did was cement them. We have 1,101 manholes, but 280 need to be relined. But by doing this, the junk that comes in out of brick and mortar into a sewer is a lot. So we reduced the water we had to treat that's going out of the city by almost 30%. We were treating at 1.12 million gallons a day, and now we're down to 800,000. Lowers our energy costs, saves 50,000 a year. So There's one of those projects you don't think about, but once you do, it's a pretty amazing thing, the foresight and just getting that taken care of. So 2023, I think, was great, but 2024 is going to be better. Before I dive into projects and things like that, we'll talk about property tax. We work really hard to stay within a budget and keep your property taxes low. This marks the 5th year in a row WestU has lowered the overall property tax rate. And I know all of you think, I get a bill that's pretty big every year. I'm not sure you lowered it, but we're one of the lowest in the county, but WestU's portion of that bill, go take a look at your bill, is only 18.6%. The school district's 14.5%, 45.4%, so that's where you're seeing your increases. And the county and its special districts are 36%. So keep in mind, I think 18.6, what you pay the city on your house, you're getting the most bang for the buck. I mean, all these things I just talked about, plus, I mean, amazing police, amazing fire, what we offer for rec within our budget is amazing. So now I'm going to tell you what you're getting for your money. For public safety, one thing I know I hear a lot about is now in the era of social media and people wanting instant notifications. We're making improvements to our overall communication efforts. We engage with residents on different media, and we're looking at more just-in-time type instant notices when action's needed, when you need to shelter in place or there's a man on the loose, things like that, where it's better coming from the city than next door or whatever. Not that our next door people here don't run a great system, but people want to hear it from the city. We are reviewing our current staffing levels, not only in public safety to elsewhere, to ensure that our legacy staffing levels continue to meet the increasing service demand. And if we see a gap, we're going to fill it. We're also reviewing our current service levels of police and looking at special services such as a drone unit, which we already bought the drone, but we have to train someone on that, and that will help police in searches. It will help fire assess damages, so we don't have to borrow a city nuisance drone. We'll have our own, and when you don't have to borrow it, you make use of it a lot more. I personally am having the city look at a canine. I think that would be great. We borrow Houston's when people are jumping over fences, so that's just another thought out there. But anything that can enhance police force and just presence in the community is I think, better. And we're also going to review agreements with neighboring agencies, Bel Air, Southside, to ensure they're equitable for all parties. And if there's any way we can have economies of scale, etc., some other small cities in Harris County do the same thing. We're a safe community. I want to keep it that way. And I want to thank everyone that does that day in and day out. Urban planning and design. Most of you know, because you're engaged, that we're turning 100 this year. And our founders, through their determination and self-sustaining spirit, set in motion a community that make this one of the premier cities to live in. But it's beneficial to see how we grow as a city. I know in the nation, people will say, well, Houston grows without thought. WestU is going to grow with thought. And we have challenges. We have challenges with respect to, I know we have a lot of walkers, bicyclists, joggers. You see them on the sidewalks some, you see them in the street a lot. And that would be part of urban planning, is to look to see balance. I mean, we have automobile needs. Clearly that's what the streets are for. But how we can make it friendlier for pedestrians, see where they are going now and where is it best to move them. I think we have to look at our right-of-way and look at vegetation there and see what's the best maybe to be putting in there, so we could make the sidewalks a little wider so we don't have pedestrians having to compete with trucks, garbage trucks, delivery vans, and cars in the street at dawn, dusk, at times when it's dangerous for the driver and the walker. So I think there's a lot that we can do, because even though we have a static space, we're still a growing community. I'll get through this quick, it's important now. Software and technology. We set a priority to upgrade our technology capability, which will help service delivery. In 2024, we started the first part of this upgrade. We have new financial software. And I did forget to thank Marie Calga, who's here. She's our finance director. Marie, please. That will be the hub for integrating existing software and new software. And it replaces a program that was put in place in 2008. If anyone can raise their hand who's got a phone or a computer from 2008. Okay, I don't think so. This is going to make a huge difference, I think, in how people interface with the city and how the city delivers utility billing. This one touches every customer monthly, and right now, the way it's set up, we have 3 different vendors that we have to pull together to provide this service, which has led to issues in generating and mailing utility bills for people who still are getting it in the mail. I know staff's excited about it, and I think you'll be excited about it once you start using it. Online permitting, right now we're still in the paper age. If you have designs, you have to go and take it in by paper, and it takes a lot longer. And even Houston has online permitting, so we're moving to that. And we also have service request, Request You. If you don't have it on your phone, everybody find the board and download it. To report issues, we're looking for new software that's going to make it a little bit better and faster. Even though I think it's working great now because I use it all the time. I talked about sidewalks. We had 95 miles of sidewalks that we are repairing and replacing. We're trying to compress that time down. In 2024, we're going to complete year 3 of the 5-year, and we're spending $1.2 million on it. We're getting $400,000 from Metro Mobility funds. We've requested to expedite this, and if we can finish it within the next year, I think everybody here would appreciate it. Dave, can you see who has their break? Trying to shorten that time frame. So we have, our streets are really nice, but there's always room for improvement. The streets that were not replaced during the infrastructure program that we had in the 90s, during West Side and East Side Street, during the drainage program, a lot of those are going to be replaced then. So these 95 are the ones that are not part of the drainage program. One behind here, and 2 groundwater wells. A 2021 system study recommended projects to improve our resiliency and reliability and have capacity to meet future demands. And when we talk about resiliency, we as a city have to take 50% of our water, 50's right, from City of Houston, ground surface water, and that's the climate we live in. We have to. So a lot of resiliency is, and I get calls on it a lot, but we've been nimble. City of Houston has a water boil. We can shut off from them and use our own. Or any contamination, we're able to shut off and have, I know the new homes we build, even ones on double lots, they use more water. People are using more water. So it's not like we have a static amount of water that's been used. It's increasing. And again, cutting off from the City of Houston, I think, and we'll come back and ask the public that people would prefer to have our own sustainable water. Drainage, 19, there was a break in the action, and we came back to it in 2021, and an easement, but it's not an easement, we're going to own it, from Bissonnet all the way to Grays, it's 40 feet wide, that we can put a new trunk line in, which is a once in a lifetime opportunity for the city. North-south, we can make it, and what we've asked for design for is something that could handle a 100-year event. What we got from the engineers before that was more of a localized, kind of expensive, but best we could do with what we had, repair project on the west side because it was overdue. But we asked for it to be enhanced, and so that what we're bringing in from the streets will fill something that holds 100-year capacity. And to quote one of my other council members, pour Niagara Falls into Briggs Bayou. It's not an inexpensive plan. I think it would probably be our biggest infrastructure project since the city was built.
Yeah.
But I think it would have the most impact of anything we've done since then. Before April, and I know a lot of you have notices for city council meetings, the engineers are going to come back with a report on that. It's fascinating to see the overlays, how much the street flow, how many inches where it's showing up in the yards before, and how it's going to be after this is built. So I encourage everyone to ask about it and to come to meetings about it, because it's a major project. But as you know, I don't want to call myself a drainage mayor. Maybe I am. Poor Farm Ditch, we have this, we have Buffalo Speedway. It's important in this for us. And also that 40-foot wide easement, after we get things built out, that's something other parts of the city could look at, pathway or bike. That's wide and that's nice. So, everybody's kind of starting to learn on what you would want to do with a contiguous 40-foot wide piece of land that goes from Bissonnette to Briggs Bayou. So that is my big drainage talk. Poor Farm Ditch, we haven't started it yet, but it's almost shovel ready. We are having public engagement meetings in April of 2024. We're about to zero in on the dates, and I'd like everyone to be there to see not only what it's going to do with impacts on our side. We've talked to stakeholders who about the ditch, but I think other people are going to want to see what it looks like, what it's going to do, and ask questions. So we're going to be there for that. Bidding in December 2024, and construction should start February 2025. Probably should take about as long as Buffalo Speedway. This was a $31 million project that we got the majority of the funding from our Congresswoman Fletcher. We got it from the state of Texas, Ann Johnson, with the help of now Mayor Whitmire, but he was a senator, and Senator Jim Hickman. And they together put $25.8 million for it. So the rest of it came from us and Southside, since it benefits both. Finally, facilities master plan. It's been discussed for over 19 years. Any city has a book in place that has alternatives in case something comes up that is needed. In 2010, 2011, it was a state of emergency that we needed to redo our police station. Guess what? We had 9 different plans in the facility master plan to choose from to be nimble and do that, rather than panicking and have someone do a design right then. So we have a facilities master plan, things in there, new public works maintenance facility. If you park on that side of the building, you see the concertina wire around the one we have right now. It's we're moving it to Dinkins over behind where the Pink's Pizza was, and it will be able to handle more of our work. You're not going to see the trucks in the middle of the city, and it's just going to be state of the art. We're also going to be able to move our parks maintenance facility people from the rec center over there to get more rec center space. So all of these are like dominoes. They fix one thing, make a whole lot of other things better. I know for a long time people have been asking for a new community building, senior center, library complex, kind of where we are. The building's functional. Take a walk around it. It's not laid out the best. Council will consider approval of a design service agreement at the February 26th meeting. Please come. And it will include extensive public engagement on what people want, what the users want. And there's every type of user. I know the seniors use this heavily, but it's open for everything. I think we used to even have jazzercise that we could write to them into the rec center. I think we'll be able to offer more things once we have a space that's that can handle it. We will also evaluate how our civic center is utilized, kind of the civic campus. And I know a lot of people that I talked earlier would like this area a little bit more pedestrian friendly. We got baseball across the street. There's cars all over the place. How to make it safer, nicer, easier to get back and forth from city places to baseball, to anything that we have in this part of town. So that all is going to be what we look at with an enormous amount of public engagement. Rec Center. It's hard to believe next year we'll be celebrating 14 years. It still looks like new to me since the construction of this facility. And part of phase 2 is how to repurpose the parks maintenance service area where they're moving out and just refresh, because we did a 360 on what the programming is going to be. I think some of the space could be utilized better, and I know there'll be input on how the residents want to see and what they want in that rec center. How many members do we have right now in the rec center? You don't know. Susan, why do you know?
Yes, we have about, total with family members, we have about 100.
How many?
100.
That's great. It could be more. I think we're better than a lot of the gyms around, but we need to know from people what we need to offer to have them come on in. I mean, it's a bargain too. It's really nice. We turned 100. We had our 100-year event, Centennial, and we had our Founders Day event in January. And our next major event for 100-year is Centennial Celebration Festival on May 4th at Colonial Park, starting at 4. We have a lot of the members of our Centennial Committee who would be glad to talk to you about that. I may have them go out to the table out there with all our little things. So if you're interested in Centennial, go talk to them. And we have, if you want to show your Westview Pride, your Centennial Pride, limited edition Centennial merchandise available for purchase. I will bring up, it's not sitting here in my slides, when we're re-envisioning the Civic Campus, we're re-envisioning the fire station. And what I'll bring up is part of the master plan. What has come to us is what we have right now is not big enough for any truck we would buy when the other ones go out of service. A lot of times when you look at rebuilding things, it's when major improvements have to be done. You don't just go out and build something when you've got perfectly functional buildings. But if you have to knock down that bay to put a new truck in there, we're constrained with how the church is built in, and just that small area. My estimate from old estimates would be just for the bay, $8 million. And we need something, our ISO rating, your safety, it keys on our ability to function in that building. So what we looked at was tear the bay out or rebuild it. We could not rebuild it there without tearing into City Hall. We don't want to tear up City Hall. That's a hallmark of our city. Looked at other places where it would be just as easy for a fire truck to get out, and the cost would be a little more, but you're getting more than the bay. You're getting the building ADA compliant, which we are not and cannot do with a rebuild over there. We have, it was built in the 50s, I think, maybe when we didn't have lady firemen. So, you know, I think our dressing and locker areas are probably subpar for people who are interviewing. We want the best to come. So a new building would be amazing, and it would allow police to expand their presence, repurpose the bay as office space. So all of our administrative offices could be over there, and the cost would be, I mean, we'll run the numbers, but I don't think it's going to be much more than having to tear it up, which we will have to do in the first place. So I do want to bring up the fire department, and please, afterwards, if you want to talk about that, there'll be people here to chat with you about it. But I want to thank everyone for coming and finding out the great things that we have to look forward to as a city, and I'll be glad to talk to you about it as well. Thank you.